It's Thursday lunchtime. I don't know my trades yet. So I think my trades video today will be a mixture between 3 different options, and we're going to just talk through them, and hopefully I can make a decision on video with you guys. And at least you get to see my options, and it maybe helps you with your trades as well. But in this video, we got 5 teams from the private group to go through, which is going to be awesome. A little bit of a chat around some questions as well, which will be cool. And just a big shout out to Katrina, to Heath, and to Nate last night, and to all you guys for being in the comments and showing your love for Kat being on, who, it's different type of person to be on the channel, and it's great to have her on, to get her asking lots of different questions, to have someone on there that may not know everything and has played head to head in a different style, to be on there asking questions, for all you guys to be showing love was absolutely spectacular. So I'll answer a couple of questions in there as well, and give my thoughts still around this Lucas situation. But shout out to Hayden for the JBFA tag there. JBFA Superstorm, I've been helping on this channel for a few years now, and he's in a great spot at 2,544 overall. Round 3 rank of 6,294, which is great. And he's averaging 950 odd across the first 2 weeks. Did use 2 trades last week, similar to myself. Really happy with the rank so far. Only players was disappointed in missing are Watson and Tamale. Had Watson all preseason change last minute. He's one of them. That would have been a cool little starter, but does have Payne Haas, which is great. He's going to captain Haas and VC Yo/Cleary in the early game and figure my looping out post trading. Cool. Yep, I like that. Captain Haas if you do own him. I'm thinking Hosking to Nicholson and Duffy to Tamale or Toa. What do you think on that? I think you're fixing up the position down below, especially when you've got Lucas, Marzu, and also Ponga. So Lucas, sounds like you're probably going to hold him at this point. I think this was sent to me before the Lucas news, so I'll just give you, how I'd sort of think through this one. In first, Hosking to Nicholson. You'd sell Hosking before Lucas every day of the week because he's out for likely longer, and Lucas was scoring better and is in a really tough centre position as well. So Nicholson just gives you the straight replacement in the edge spot, which is something you do need a little bit of cover in, especially with Lucas being out as well. You just don't have that extra support. So that's where that's great. Duffy to Tamale or Toa. Either one, I think, works really well. What you need to think of personally is this wing fullback slot next week. So you've got Bentley Hape that you brought in for a little cash down. I don't know if that was to get Haas or not, but it helped you in that week, but he hasn't, he's not playing this week coming up. What I would suggest with you, mate, you need the centre or the wing fullback, but you do need the wing fullback more. So that's where Tamale is probably a better one than Toa. Lucas out doesn't help you, wouldn't have mattered for next week anyway. And I think you just add to your little list of wing fullbacks. So Purdue is likely going to have to come in for you next week unless you do make a trade. You've got Ayongi, and if you brought in Tamale, I think that would be the better play, just to ensure that you don't have to force trades next week. If Ayongi gets dropped next week, let's say you bring Tamale in, you then need 2 wing fullbacks next week, and you're playing Purdue in the centres as well. So a priority for you this week is to just sort things out with that situation around the centres and the wing fullback. And I implore a lot of you guys to do the same thing. It can be a little bit of a problem if you're not thinking ahead, especially if one of those, if Rob Toya gets injured next week as well, then you're in trouble in the centres also. So Purdue, hopefully, he's an okay play next week, and he can score sort of 30 for you or something like that. And Yongi, does pretty well. And you're going to be great guns with Greg and Ponga going forward longer term, and it's helped you have really good scores in the first few rounds. So if you do lose a couple of points next week, it's not the end of the world, but I do suggest trying to make sure that you have that edge cover like you're doing with Nicholson, and bring in Tamale, and then have a plan definitely to bring in a wing fullback next week. So you're not going to be able to do Toa this week. Maybe he could be helpful for you next week if you have an injury, but at the moment you're probably going to have to leave him out and get Tamale in your side. So thanks for sending this one in, mate. And just get into a couple of the little bits and pieces in questions. But Dill's there. It's so wholesome. You're the man, Jamie. Massive respect to you. Thank you. Great video. It was lovely to see Kat there. That's awesome. great to see. There was a couple of comments in there with like 15 likes on having Cat in there, and people liking Nate's thoughts, and how well he's doing as well. So that's awesome. Nikki knows all. I don't know if he's being rude here, Greg, or not, but if you are being rude, that sucks. If you're not being rude, then that's great. Also, understand you're trying to just probably give him a name. I don't know if Nikki knows all. It does feel a bit much, especially when Nikki is such a humble man, as he said there. That is definitely not true. Hey, Jamie, would you trade Lucas and Hosking for Iro and Hopgood? Yeah, I think Iro's a great pick. He is straight centre as well, which can be good, can be bad. Like, some people are looking at guys like Beau Fermor as a straight replacement, and that makes sense as well. Is Purdue to Toa a good trade? Yes, you could definitely hold Purdue as well, as Nikki is saying, to bank a trade, but it's also a fine move. All right, let's get one more before we get into a few more teams. The question for Garrick is, will he have yet another HIA? Yeah, he definitely could. It's something to consider, as Nikki said. So, yeah, he's in there helping out, answering questions on his channel, which is awesome. So thank you for him doing that, as well as Mitch on his video. As Nikki said in the video, with Metcalf / Lucas for Haas and Toa, I understand stretching things to get Haas, but Metcalf, he isn't a sell. So as he said, you can do moves like that if you want to, but just be aware that by the book, it's probably not the best decision there. And thanks so much for everyone that's jumping in and commenting on those guys and their videos there. It's been absolutely awesome. All right. Hey, Jamie, solid round the last few weeks. It will be my first time trading this season. I'm thinking going Hosking to Nicholson and Paddy to Toa. What would be your thoughts and improvements? Yeah, I don't think Owen Paddy's going to get you too many great scores if he's playing those low minutes. Like, he can go a point a minute, but it's not really going to help him. He needs to be in the mid-20s to 30 minutes to make some cash. And, yeah, it would have been better to have started with Riley Smith with the minutes that he's getting. But I definitely think that's an easy way you can do. You've made the trades right now, it looks like, and you're sitting with 181k in the bank, 12,700 overall. Hubner this week is your only clear out, or Lucas as well. So with Lucas out, again, this might have been, I think this was sent to me beforehand, there may be a change you do need to make around that one. And the good thing is you're replacing with Nicholson. You can move Gilbert down and then play, you don't even have another mid. Whew. That is tough. Yeah, maybe you have to change it. All right, well, let's see what we can do here. So Toa's not going to be able to come in, is he? You're probably going to need a cheaper mid, or you're going to have to trade Lucas to another good middle like Horsburgh. That could be the other option, and you might have to skip on Stafford Toa this week, considering you're playing Hosking and Lucas as your edges, and with Gilbert the only cover. Gilbert can come down, and yeah, Hubner would be fine if you could play him this week, but you can't. So with a heap of centers and halves on your and hookers on your bench, it might be that you have to take that sacrifice of selling Lucas to get the mid or the edge. So that's probably the only other thoughts that I would make this week. And thank you for sending this in, because it helps that I can it can help you go through that as things change with injuries and everything else across the trading landscape of the week. Hey, Jamie, I'm a keen fantasy player, and hence his score rank is tough to follow at 46,000. That's, it's not great, but it is okay. And we do know that, Mitch was 70,000 after round 1 and he came 21st. So be aware of that. After all the effort put in, and I was 50,000, 20 odd 30,000 after round 2 and was back at 20 odd thousand in round 5. So it can improve very, very quickly. I can only think to hold strong and not chase points, as I had Munster and Grant out. You sure did. Hopefully those two come good as long-term holds. Well, yeah, you're not expecting, the low, like we got with Isaiah Yeo, the low score with Grant having a low score round 1, with Watson going 90. You think Watson and Haas will both come down a bit. Grant and Yeo will increase, and you should have a better week. You spent a little bit less on Grant. You spent similar money on Grant and Yeo, but didn't get the output, and you will eventually. And you've got through Grant's buy, and that's going to be helpful. Same with Munster. Do you recommend chasing a Ponga as everyone owns him and he's going bananas? I don't have any centre wing fullback cover. Thanks for the advice. Well, you've kind of just got solid guys down there. I personally would go for like a Greg Marzu first before Ponga, I think, just at the price point, and he's absolutely crushing right now. But you've got great guys on your bench as well. So Duffy's the guy that's not performing super well, and you do have Hosking. So an easy one could be, without the wing fullback cover, you could bring Marzu in. And that's the problem here. You just haven't had any Knights, and Knights have been really, really good. And you went for 2 Storm players who had a solid round 1 without being spectacular. But Marzu in means you still have enough players for next week to cover, and he banks some cash for you. And then you can go Duffy up if you wanted to. Your Stafford Toa is there and available. He could be a centre that you could bring in for Duffy as well. You could use Duffy as a loop this week if you wanted to, and you could trade a Cole or a Goz, something like that. But you do have a pretty strong sort of 18 players there with Sandon Smith as the 18th right now. If you trade Hosking, I think someone like Marzu is great. I think you could go Nicholson, which gives you an extra 120, gives you 200k to trade Duffy up to close to 500k, which is a little bit annoying. You can't go like a Starling or something like that. You can just go to Toa and bank some cash, which is probably a decent little play there. It gives you plenty of cover in centre and wing fullback, and you still have lots of guns in your mids with May, with Fisher Harris, with Horse, with Yo. If you wanted to go Marzu, Seyfarth just comes into the edge position, which is sweet, but you still have Goz with edge cover. So yeah, I think either way, those kind of trades can work well for your side, mate. All right, so he's got some potential options, it looks like. Awesome. Hey Jamie, would you go Starling and only have 24k in the bank, or Smith and have 206 to upgrade Duffy next week? I personally like the Starling play. I think that's fun, but you don't have Sandon Smith. So it's not Riley Smith, it's Sandon. Both actually work well, to be honest. 30,000th overall, used 2 trades last week. 70k in the bank, have Hosking, have Lucas as well. I think Lucas with your side could be held, given you have Fermor. But could you have another centre? You've got Toya. You got Toya and Nwangani Tawaza. You don't need any more wing fullbacks or centres right now. And I do actually think that's probably 50-50. I do like the Starling trade in a lot. And I also like Sandon Smith, given he's hitting the mid to high 40s and hasn't gone up too much in price yet, and can be definitely helpful for your side. So I think it's 50-50. If you want to use the 206 to upgrade Duffy next week, you need that 500k, and there will be more options that come up at a cheaper price point or in that mid tier for guys with clear value. And it could be worth waiting that extra week, leaving Starling, given you've got Watson, Mambazelis, and Corey Pakes. You might not need, and Riley Smith. Yeah, okay, that's probably enough. Looking at that bench, having 4 hookers in your side, I don't think you need the extra one, and you can go for Sandon Smith and can use Duffy as a sell in the next couple of weeks. Pretty simple. He's got the cash making and should continue to score fairly well now. They've got through that couple of really tough clashes, so that'll be good. Benny's big ballers, how good's that? Trade made Duffy to Matt Nicholson. Good stuff. You have Lucas in the side, so centres, you've got Purdue that can come in, so there's that. Tamale can go up to centre. Yongi can play in that spot. He's not excited about having to play both Yongi and Purdue next week. Would love to move Purdue on for Stafford Toa, but 10k short. Only other trade idle option is Iongi, but if I moved him on for Toa, I would be a wing fullback short next week, and I feel like Yongi and the Eels deserve one more week. Yeah, that's fair. At the moment, I'm thinking of holding off on the second trade and seeing what happens next week. Yeah, I think that's completely fair, for sure. With Lucas, I'm not sure if you sent me this before or after the Lucas issue, but it may force your hand. Matt Nicholson, I don't think is a clear must-have when you have Seyfarth, Gilbert, Crichton, and Hopgood that can cover the edge. Lucas is out now, which makes it something to think about a little bit more. Yeah, it was a day and 23 hours when you took this screenshot. So I do think that you can go Duffy straight to Toa, and he can just slot straight into your centres this week, and it's probably your best bet. And then you could use that extra cash if you did want to upgrade someone else. Who you would do though is the question. You could upgrade Yongi with that, but not ideal because you would still be short if you sold Yongi, as you said, and no one else is really a trade out. Yeah, you had the extra cash. You could go like Seyfarth if you wanted to, right up. but maybe that's just a next week thing. And you go Duffy to Toa or Duffy to Nicholson and then make the decision next week. I think that's probably the play there. People squad, we're still working that one out. That's for sure. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. What to do with Mr. Lucas, definitely. All right. Looks like we've lost connection. All right, we're back. All right, Duffy to Toa, Hosking to Haas, or Nicholson. Well, if you can do Duffy to Toa and Hosking to Haas, then definitely do that one. Is Bevan to Jack Howarth and Barnett to Haas blowing up my team? Feels a little bit off, but it's okay, I suppose. Hosking to Haas or Hosking to Nicholson. If you can do Hosking to Haas, you just have to in one trade, I think. Good to see in here a diverse community of people loving the NRL Fantasy. Good stuff, Les. Thank you. Part of our VIP private group as well. And for those that are following along on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that like. It really, really helps me out. If you're wanting to check out the podcast as well, if that's easier for you, that really helps me. I'm trying to make that grow. And W to Katrina, that's for sure. Please leave a 5-star review if you're loving what you're hearing from me. It makes a world of difference as well. So big thanks to everyone going through this. Hammer putting thoughts in my head. Good work. Yes, Jared Butler, part of the crew as well. Who to get Hoskins and Lucas for, Haas and Nicholson? Yeah, sure. Seems like a pretty easy one. Great video. Enjoyed hearing your talk through your thinking and analysis. Much more value than play X's in yes or no kind of chat. Yeah, it's really cool. Trying to add something different. So if you want to hear Nicky's thought process, he came 111th last year. Go and do that. That's really, really cool. Should I go through much more? I don't think so. I've got my trades video to come out as well, and it is 12:20 p.m. and I've got to get this sorted. So I think we'll leave it at that. There's a lot of questions in here, and thanks so much. And if you want, it's very hard for me to get to all of it. I've got the private crew guys that get my focus for replying to questions. I put out a lot of content. I should be able to answer most of your questions in the content, and that's the point. So big thanks to you guys for listening, for watching. It's very, very helpful. And you should be able to answer the questions. And if you are wanting some more of that one-on-one advice with your team, if you want to send me your team and ask questions about it, that's where the private crew stuff is open for you. It's $35 for the year, 8 months of good stuff. You get my super coach analysis as well on NRL, on NBL, on BBL. You've got it all there at the back end of the year as well. It's a 12-month thing. So, it's like $3 or $4 a month, which is crazy. And if you like that, awesome. If you don't and you want to stick here, I appreciate everything you do, watching these, listening to these. You're the best, and look out for my trades video out in a couple of hours.